It's January 27th, 2025. And we are talking about one of the most important things that have been happening in our school systems today. An age-old problem has infected our school systems, giving our children an outcome that has been deadly. Not only have we seen an uproar of suicides, we've seen an uproar of school shootings. So they asked me to do a blueprint of a bully. This is something that most of you parents and educators need to hear. The raw, savage truth of what a bully has inside of them and the blueprint they have. It's an in-depth exploration of the mindset and self-manipulation of a bully. Welcome to the Whisper Chronicles, and I would be the Baby Whispherer Yvonne. Hurt people, hurt people. Can't say it more clear than that. Bullying is not just an outward act, but a reflection of inner turmoil, distorted self-perception, and unprocessed emotion. To dissect the layer of a bully psychologically, focusing on the mindset and self-manipulation that sustains a bully behavior, while exploring how interventions and understanding can break a cycle to save a life. Understanding the mindset of a bully. Inner conflict. Many bullies experience the constant push and pull between their outward aggression and their inward vulnerability. Example, a bully might lash out to suppress feelings of rejection or inadequacy, creating an emotional armor to protect their fragile inner self. Core beliefs that drives bullies. I'm not enough. A deep-rooted belief that they are inadequate, unworthy, or powerless. Instead of addressing this belief, they project onto others, making others feel small and appear smaller than they are larger. Which means many bullies look at themselves as they're not enough, so they're going to take the power from someone who they believe that is enough. Power equals safety. Many bullies grow up in their environment where dominance was modeled as the only way to stay safe or in control. Bullies become a learned behavior to prevent vulnerability. Bullying becomes a learned behavior to prevent vulnerability. That is a powerful statement and an all. If I don't hurt first, I'll be hurt. This defensive mindset creates a preemptive strike mentally where they attack others to avoid being attacked themselves. Emotional dysregulation. Bullies often struggle to process and regulate emotional well-beings or emotions like anger, frustration, or sadness. Example, instead of expressing sadness constructively, they channel it as an aggression. The role of self-manipulation in bullying. Creating a narrative of justification. Bullies manipulate their own thoughts by justifying harmful behavior. They deserve it, convincing themselves that the victim perceived weakness and behavior warrants the bullying. I'm teaching them a lesson. Framing bullying as a form of tough love and necessary discipline. It's not that bad. Minimizing the impact of their actions to avoid guilt or accountability. Emotional numbing. To maintain their behavior, bullies suppress feelings of empathy and guilt. Example, a bully might repeatedly tell themselves, it's just a joke, to avoid confronting the harm they are causing. False empowerment. Bullying creates a temporary sense of control and superiority, which they internalize as proof of their own worth. I'm laughing for a reason. Hold on. Example, a bully who feels powerless at home may convince themselves that their dominance at school make them stronger and control. I have a question when it comes to this false empowerment. I'm going to read this again, and I want you to think about bullying, hate, racism, systemic racism, and what we teach our children, and diversion. Bullying creates a temporary sense of control or superiority, which they internalize as proof of their own worth. I wouldn't be a teacher if I didn't how you think about it. Shifting the blame. Self-manipulation often involves blaming the victim for their own suffering. If they weren't so weird, I wouldn't have to pick on them. If you weren't black, I wouldn't have to call you outside your name. If you weren't Spanish, you would learn how to speak English by coming to our country. If you weren't Asian, you wouldn't have that funny accent. Let's see how many of y'all can catch where I'm going. The mindset helps bullies avoid personal accountability while reinforcing their sense of control. Manipulation and self-manipulation goes hand in hand with teaching our kids racism and hate. Many bullies become bullies because in their own cultures and communities, they are nobodies because their parents and the people have told them that. But they don't understand that every person stands on their own. A lot of you are talking about the school shootings that have been happening in today's world. And when I say today's world, we have found school shootings going back to 1908. Now, there's something for y'all to go and be like, what? The one thing that goes correlation goes hand in hand with school shootings is school bullying. One thing that goes hand in hand with bully blueprint is racism and hate. The racism of your own self and the hatred of your own self manipulates you to think that you are superior to someone else. It all goes hand in hand when we're still talking about an age-old effect that we cannot get rid of. Many of us become educators because we want to change someone's life. But what happens if a teacher is a bully and a superiority person who wants to become a teacher to teach hate and bring down the power and the education of our children? They are now becoming a superiority complex of bullying that is blueprinting children to believe that this is the way that they should be. Environmental and social influences. Learn behavior from the authority figure. Bullies often grow up in households or communities where bullying behavior are modeled. Example, a parent who uses shame, ridicule, and aggression to discipline may unintentionally teach their child the power comes from belittling others. Cultural normalcy of aggression. Society can celebrate toughness, competition, and dominance can reinforce bullying behaviors. A sport coach who rewards players for mocking and intimidating the opponents fosters a culture of aggression. Social anarchy and peer pressure. Bullies can often maintain and improve their position on social anarchies. Group thinking can amplify bullying behavior as individuals feel embodied when supported by peers. I know the saying, we are what we eat. You also are what you associate with. Rewarding of the bully. Short-term gains like attention, control, and social status reinforce bullying behavior, making it difficult to break. I just have a couple of questions before we keep going with the blueprint. You guys keep asking, how can we stop certain things? One thing that I noticed that when we're talking about school incidences, whether it's shooting, bullying, anything that's going on, child endangerment, we focus on the suspect. We focus on the aggressor. Not too often do we focus on the victim. In a world where we say that you are innocent to proven guilty, when you know the person is guilty, then why don't you treat the innocent with care instead of giving the guilty fame? And hundreds of manifestos that we have seen from around this country, the same exact thing is being taught to us as you read them. The first thing that you read when it comes to a bully or a person that has taken things into their own hands, which i.e. a bullied victim can become a bully by putting a powerful weapon in their hand. Because they have learned that no one pays attention until you make a big splash. Not in a positive way. Positivity has become irrelevant in our culture. Anything that is negative is soaked up, picked up, and put all over the place. You be on the news, the internet, social media. We ain't got newspapers really, but you're gonna be on an article somewhere. But do something good in these days. And you only get literally 5 seconds of fame. The hidden vulnerabilities of a bully. Unprocessed trauma. Many bullies have experienced negligence, abuse, or trauma that they have not been equipped to process. Example, a child who felt powerless during a traumatic event may use bullying to regain self-control, self-shame, and self-loathing. Beneath their aggression, bullies often harbor deep feelings of shame and self-hatred. Example, a bully who is secretly insecure about their appearance may target others for the same traits. You too fat, and they fat themselves. You ugly, and they ugly themselves. I don't like you because the way you look. And they head, you're attractive, but because they friends said it, they don't like you. Fear of rejection. I want half of you adults to listen to me with your back ear when I say this. Bullying often occurs to others to avoid being rejected or excluded themselves. Again, in a different way. Bullies often bully others to find being rejected or excluded themselves. I want y'all adults to hear that with your back ear. You know, the ear that our kids don't know we have. Example, a child who fears of being seen as weak might bully someone else to shift the attention away from their vulnerabilities. Loneliness and isolation. Despite their outward aggression, many bullies feel deeply disconnected and misunderstood. Breaking the cycle of bullying. Empathy, building, and emotional awareness. Teaching bullies to recognize and understand their own emotions can reduce aggressive behavior. Strategies. Journaling or therapy to explore their own insecurities and vulnerabilities. Role-playing exercises to develop empathy for their victims. I have a question to all of you teachers. When you find someone bullying in your classroom, do you ask them to reflect on why they feel like this person is like this? When I was a teacher in 5th grade in Europe, and they called it fifth year. When I was a teacher in Europe, we had a couple of kids that liked to bully other students. And the first thing I did is when I pulled them off of playtime, which they were really upset about that, when I pulled them off of playtime, they had to write me a paragraph on why they said the words out of their mouth. Then the next day they had to write me a paragraph on why they felt like their emotions and their feelings to this person was valid for them to tell them. Then the next time they had to miss playground, they had to tell me where they learned this behavior from and who they seen it from, and give me an example. Using no names, they have to name the aggressor as a monster. And the next time we had this exercise, I realized that half of these children have learned manipulating traits and very bad traits from their parents, grandparents, babysitters, and certain other people that have been around them. In the grand scheme of it all, at the end of all of this, you should have came out with the fact that many bullies are not just born into this, they're taught this. Many people become bullies and killers because they want to have the power taken back to themselves. You can't empower anyone else without having your power to yourself. You don't have to give away your power in order for you to empower someone else. You have to give away love. I'm going to say it again. You do not give away power by empowering someone else. You have to give away love to truly empower another. Breaking the cycles of bullying. Empathy, building, and emotional awareness. Oh wait, I just went through that. Addressing core belief. Yes, I'm old. Shut up. Anyway. Helping bullies reframe harmful beliefs like I'm not enough into healthier affirmations. Explain. You want me to explain? I'm going to give you an example. Cognitive behavior therapy can challenge distorted thinking patterns. Most of us with cognitive behavior will think about what we are doing, and at the end of all of this, we will actually put into motion what we're actually doing. We will say to ourselves, why do I think I'm not enough? And while we're saying this to ourselves, why we think we're not enough, we'll actually start believing what we do can be enough. Providing alternate outlets. Now, how many of us go through all of this and then we don't provide our child or ourselves with alternate outlets? How many of us will look at ourselves and still be around the same people that we are around that cause these negative notations? Providing and encouraging bullies to channel their needs to control or attention into positive activities like leadership roles, sports, and creative pursuits. But don't push your child into something that they are afraid they cannot do, and they feel like that everything that they do is going to be challenged. You must give them something that they can succeed in, not you. Restorative practices. Restorative justice approaches can help bullies understand the impact of their actions and rebuild relationships. Example, facilitating a dialogue where the bullies listen to how their actions affect victims. For every person that is sitting in prison with a school shooting should actually have videos of the victims' families. They should have videos of the victim themselves explaining what their emotional status is every time they hear that they were a part of a travesty. And some of y'all gonna say, what does this have to do with restorative practices? A lot of people like to say they did a bad thing and they put it away. I'm serving my time. I did what I was supposed to do. You, as the perpetrator, serve your time, and by justice law of someone else, they have told you that what you have done is paid for. But how many of us walk through and actually ask the victim, do you forgive me? See, we're teaching long-term consequences for unchecked bullying. And a lot of you look at me and say, well, it's not this deep. Bullying is always this deep. When it goes and impacts a person to make them a victim, it is always this deep. The impact of bullying. Unresolved bullying behavior can lead to relationship challenges, workplace conflicts, and continued emotional dysregulation in adulthood. Example: an adult who uses manipulation or aggression in relationship struggles to maintain healthy connections. There are some of you that fold when it comes to healthy relationships, and there's many of you that will seep your toxins into someone who's just trying to help you. You are trained to be a bully to get through life. You cannot manipulate your way through life. For those of you who are telling bullies, you'll grow out of it, they will grow into a monster. See, first you a maggot. You an annoying little person. And then you a bully. You got the power to hurt other people. And then you a monster, because then you learn to take lives. It is a chain reaction that we are having. And we seem to still can't get the blueprint. Impact on victims. The long-term psychological effect on victims, such as anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, can weigh heavier on a bully if they later confront the harm they have caused. Now, I want y'all all to get quiet as a mouse when I say this. The generational cycles. Without intervention, bullies may pass down their behaviors to their children, perpetrating a cycle of aggression and dysfunction. In 2008, after 1999, we had an influx. Because in 1999, them kids that were kids just had children that went to school in 2008. In 2012, we had another influx. We had kids not only having school incidences and shootings, we also had school suicides. 2020, we dropped because half of y'all was at home. 21, we teetered. 22, it shot. 23, it got astronomical. And 24, half of us are afraid to send our children to school. Now we at 2025, and if we don't rethink the bully, we're going to have a very bigger problem, because it is world dominance to put down another person. Yet, for some seeming reason, that same person that think he got world dominance, that thinks she got it at the top, there is one part of your life that is going to plateau, because you're going to meet that person that's going to put you on your ass. And some of y'all say, Baby Whisper, you just don't care what you say out your mouth. This age-old problem that started back in the day has gotten hellified terrible now. It has been glorified, it has been amplified, and it has been taught to even our preschoolers. The key takeaway is bullies are not born, they're shaped by their environment, experience, and internal struggles. Understanding the mindset and the self-manipulation and the self-sabotage of a bully is essential for effective intervention. How about instead of labeling a bully as a victim. We recognize them as individuals in pain who need guidance and support to break free from the cycles of aggression. Because in today's world, it's quick for you to tell a person who is standing up for themselves that they are a bully. But the people who are actually being the aggressors, the people who are actually teaching the manipulation, the people who are actually putting out the venom in our children and our society, you are glorifying them as being strong. We must step back and we must understand that we have the blueprint of helping these people. But do we have the courage to stand up and do it? It's the Baby Whisperer. Imaginary Homeschool Academy. The Baby Whisperer movement, powered by Intelligent Connections. And I hope you enjoyed the blueprint to a bully. Y'all know what to do. If you whisper, I hear you. Shh.